Mr. Mike Draco, first across the line tonight. David Crum says, no way. Jeff McKinney in right behind him. Hey, great to see everybody here. I'm Chris with Cycle Source, and we're getting ready for another episode of America's first and favorite two-wheel motorcycle talk show, Shop Talk, going live in just about 4 minutes. We got a killer show for you guys tonight, and the crew is just chomping at the bit. Can't wait to get on air and start talking. Last week we missed because of a mishap, a terrible accident involving a panhead kicker and an old guy, but we'll get to that in a couple of minutes here. Right now it's just enough time for you guys to like and share, send this all around the interwebs, as Mark likes to say. Speaking of old guys, what are you doing over there? Mark's in the house tonight.
I was a little worried you weren't going to make it after last week's episode.
Oh, it was terrible. Terrible when you get to the age that you realize that your motorcycle can hurt you. That's a terrible thing. But hey, we're here this week and we're ready to get going. You guys are piling in. Deborah Wilbur in with us. Greg White all the way from Tejas. Good to see you guys. Deborah Wilbur, how I miss riding. Me too after last week. I rode all week on crutches. It was bullshit. All right, man. Hey, grab a drink, kick back, and relax, and get ready. In just 3 minutes, we're going live with this week's episode of Shop Talk. Oh my goodness, I don't pay attention for 2 seconds. There's so many comments up on the board I can't even keep track. Jochen from Finland, I'm not even going to try to say your last name, but hey, you pronounce my name, do like this, Johan, like the chicken. I have no idea what that means. Tony Tello in from Medford, Mass. Ray's Motor Life, what's up? Don Gilmore, Chase Rider, number 22. Hey, I know him. 1 minute, 19 seconds, we're going live. Poppy's in the house from the wetlands of Detroit. Raining over a large part of the country this week, and boy, my grass needed it, but I sure sat by the window waiting for it to get nice out. Jeff McKinney just got my F&A intake seals for his Ironhead. Go get some. 59 seconds, we're going live with this one. Make sure you hit the like and share. Heather says it all the time. Sharing is caring. Helps us get this thing out further every week. America's favorite two-wheel motorcycle talk show, Shop Talk. 1 minute. 1 minute. The countdown has begun. Help. You know what? I have the button for this. I can just get us out of the station and up onto the tracks right now. Let's go live with this week's Shop Talk. Here we go. Okay, scooter tramps and chopper jockeys all across the land, welcome to Shop Talk. It's just after 9 p.m. on the East Coast. That means we're in the seat and ready to go. I'm joined here on this Independence holiday weekend by my crew.
Oh, that was a mouthful.
Hey.
It was.
How did you not understand the pronunciation thing? Yo, hen. Hen like the chicken? Duh.
Yo, hen.
Just saying. Yo, hen.
I
Get
thought
it?
he was from the hood. Yo, hen.
Tom Banks here with us tonight. Nick Hiddebro. See how I did that, Heather? See how I just went right past?
I'm so
onto
used to it, I
something?
didn't even notice.
Man. I don't know. Jockin', Yokin, Johan.
Johan. That's how you do it. Johan. And I thought it was great. They actually they
obviously
told you how to say it and you still screwed it up. That's the best part. Like they couldn't have made it any easier.
Oh my
So
God.
good.
I'm so bad. I listen. Obviously that person has watched the show before because I'm horrible at
Worst
pronouncing
with
names.
names.
They'll
I'm so
put me
glad
on
to see.
stage in Sturgis with 40 bike classes to give trophies to. And you guys let people fill out their own entry forms to the bike show and expect me to announce everyone's name.
Oh, yo, cheese.
Yo, cheese.
Yo, cheese. I'm so glad to see Tom Banks here.
I know, man.
It's so good.
Getting better, apparently.
So Independence Day, America
Coming up.
celebrating its independence, its birthday, its flight to freedom, and here we go. The neighbors are all shooting stuff all week.
Oh, our
and
dogs are so happy.
Mark got rid of his neighbor with the explosives in trade for some hippies. I'm not sure it was such a good trade.
we have the free store next door now. It's great. Just to let you know, thinking about moving.
Oh man!
As she digs my yard out.
So here's the skinny. Last week, when we had to call off the show, like hours before, I had gone to visit a memorial for a friend of ours in a local area, Terry Samford, who went under the name Bouncer for years and years, had the motorcycle shop Spirit Harley Davidson, passed away over the winter. They just had a memorial ride for him at the Wicked Witches, and I went down on the 49 Panhead, went to kick the motorcycle, and it didn't kick back. It didn't slip through. My foot
You're
didn't
just
slip
old.
off. But my leg, for some reason, hyperextended, and I felt like the muscle tore off the bone.
Well, you know, when
Which
you're
it
new
kinda
at
did,
kicking,
actually.
you know,
When I'm new at
when you're
kicking.
new at kicking bikes,
You know, so
who invited that guy?
But so here's the question I want to know, Mark. He's still hobbling around on crutches.
Oh,
He's
this is
doing
going to take
better.
3 months.
I
Oh,
just
yeah.
want to know how long do I let it go on
4 months.
before I'm like, okay, yeah, dude, you're milking it. Because he'll take his drink cup and he'll shake it. He like, can I please have the boy?
Oh yeah, dude, I'd ride that horse as long as I
Hey,
possibly
you
could. if I
know
was
who
him.
taught me to shake the drink cup thing,
Oh,
right?
I'm going to punch Daniel Heeman in the face next time I see him for that one. And the worst part is I fall for it every damn time.
Well, who's the dummy here?
Me.
Slap.
I fully admit it. I can't tell if I'm a saint or stupid.
Oh, come on.
Oh, I know the answer to that.
I appreciate that you've been looking after me. I feel kind of bad for myself that I'm old enough now that I'm actually starting to realize that they make kickers for motorcycles
they
for
do.
a reason. I'm just not
It's
ready.
time for
no,
a button.
I said I understand why they have them. That doesn't mean it's time for me to have a button.
You know, I was home watching NASCAR through the streets of Chicago, and I came here for this.
NASCAR through the streets of Chicago.
Yeah,
Was
they're
there a
racing
police chase or
no,
something?
they're racing NASCAR through the downtown streets of
Really?
Chicago this week. Yeah,
Really?
it's super interesting. It was great. It's nice to see them guys
Do
make
they have
it
to turn
another
more
turn.
than one way?
Yes. Yeah,
No.
it's a road course. It's pretty awesome.
Well, then that's not NASCAR.
No, it is. It's actually pretty cool. If anybody's into that stuff, it's man, that's the shit. Watching them guys drive like that. It's a good race. It was a great race.
All right, well, listen, you guys, thanks for tuning in tonight. If this is your first time watching Shop Talk, where the hell have you been? We've done this for almost 250 episodes now. You can watch it live every night, Sunday at 9 p.m. through the courtesy of the Dennis Kirk Motorcycle Studio, or you can watch it in perpetuity through the Cycle Source YouTube page.
That was a big word.
Forever. And see how it just seamlessly came off my lips as if this was part of my profession, Heather.
Whoa.
Smoke and mirrors, sweetheart. Smoke and mirrors.
So in case it is your first time, you're wondering what is it that we do here? We do everything from the two-wheel world. You know, we publish Cycle Source magazine. This is our weekly wrap-up of the things that we're into and the stuff that we catch you guys doing out in the world.
A little bit of news.
It's a little bit of entertainment, this and that. We start the whole thing off. Heather blew it already, but we started off with the news. So there you go. The Shop Talk World Report is brought to you by Law Tigers. Get the compensation you deserve and get back on the road with Law Tigers. Can't believe you blew my intro. First up in the news tonight, and this comes in from Dealer News. AIM Expo adds OEMs. I almost did a spit take when I first read this in pre-show. Adds OEMs? Okay. Tremendous momentum for this year's AIM Expo has given us a boost in its planning for 24, said Cinnamon Kearneys, MIC Vice President of Marketing, Expansion, and Events. More than a dozen OEs, 3 distributors, including Tucker Power Sports, Parts Unlimited. Over 175 companies have already committed to the February 6th through the 8th Las Vegas event. This far out from the show, we've sold more floor space than we've ever had during the past decade. So AIM Expo on track to being a great show this year, but welcoming OEs.
Wonder if Cinnamon's sister Mercedes works there.
It is Vegas, baby.
Just
you know what
asking.
they say. What happens in Vegas?
Not hating, just saying.
Also in from Dealer News, membership has its privileges. Free to join, become a member. Building on the 40-year history and the success of its Harley Owners Group, the largest factory-sponsored motorcycle club in the world with more than 500,000 members, Harley-Davidson launched its new HD membership program. HD Membership is an industry-leading community platform and membership program that will bring together riders and motor culture fans under the United We Ride banner to connect, engage, and ride with one another, proclaims the motor company. But what's in it for the ultimate community builders, local dealers? This is a new program that they're putting together that, from what I garnered, was a way to kind of get rid of the point system that they used to have, Heather, or is that what I got from it? Well, am I putting you on the spot? You're supposed to be my Robin Quivers.
Sorry. No, I was actually thinking about Vegas. There's only one reason I want to go back to Vegas. I need a do-over on the zip line. That's the only reason I want to go back to Vegas.
Hey,
if the AIM Expo could bring me to the zip line.
Somebody tell Heather we're doing a show here tonight.
Oh.
Okay, moving on. And this in from
gotta
GBS.
get your priorities straight.
Right?
Triumph unveils affordable retro bikes, Speed 400 and Scrambler 400X. Autoblog.
What's affordable?
You know, it's going to be
Here,
a new
don't let me read the
entry-level-
news. Just tell me how you feel about it.
Let's just
Just
summarize
get
it.
right
Come on,
into
cut
it.
to the chase.
Okay.
They haven't released the price on it. It's going to be obviously less expensive than their now least expensive model, which is the
Around
$650,
$9,000, right?
around $9,000, and this is coming in less than that. But I couldn't find a price anywhere, even after searching. So I haven't found the U.S. price yet.
This
baiting.
is something funny that we were talking about, Mark, is like some of these companies, it seems like they ran into their glass ceiling. You know what I mean? Like they took their entry-level motorcycles and they kept adding to them until they got up to a certain amount that they realized, A, they couldn't back down from that price because it would devalue the product. They certainly couldn't take features away from it. So what do you do at that point? You know, you start backwards engineering and come out with a smaller motorcycle. But if you consider, like along that line of thought, back in 92, Rob Bidos and I were talking about this. 1992, I think the cost of Harley's least expensive motorcycle was $6,000.
This is crazy.
Was the Sportster, right? Its most expensive, now dig this, most expensive motorcycle in 1992 was the Softail Springer at $12,000 or $12,900 it might have been. That was their most expensive
roughly
bike.
50%.
Right?
Yeah.
So today, if you fast forward all of that, the Sportster is now a $14,000 motorcycle, but their most expensive bike. So that's a 50% gap, right, between those two bikes in 92. Today, their most expensive motorcycle is like $52,000. That's almost 4 times the price of their base model, not including the small CC bike. So it's
crazy.
interesting how a lot of these companies, they talk the stuff about how the demographic is changing, you know, and the need for outreach and to look for the younger consumer, but the pricing structure would not suggest that.
No, not at all. Not at all. Because even at $14,000 for an entry-level bike, that's still a pretty hefty bill, especially if it is going to only be an entry-level bike.
Well, and like I said, you know, once you've added so much to it, I mean, a lot of us have been in this for a long time will remember when Harley-Davidson used to sell the base model motorcycle, and it was up to the dealer would put together all the stuff for the paint and the performance packages and, you know, all the accessories and everything. And like, it's seriously, they just come with all of that now.
Yeah, and these aren't primary vehicles either, so
Yeah,
these are
actually,
secondary.
Poppy just said it. One transit van. That's not far off from what we paid for our Sprinter.
Right.
That's crazy.
And it doesn't even cook your breakfast.
Neither does the Sprinter. But let me tell you what. There's a few other things that are involved in that arrangement. All right, so hey, listen, we're gonna cut right to it.
14 grand for a girl's bike. Deal stereo. Kiss it.
Heather's got a little attitude tonight, Mark. You see that?
Yeah, you'll have that.
So
It's been 2 weeks. I mean, if you'd quit hurting yourself, we would have done a show last week.
We're gonna jump right to
find
it.
a deer.
Let's take a look at. Look, I'm gonna cut you guys off now. You made me
Promise?
do this. Made me do it. I'm gonna switch gears here for a minute. We're gonna take a look at a cool feature bike. On the other side, we're gonna go straight to our guest. Don't go anywhere. You're watching Shop Talk in the Dennis Kirk studio. Out of Focus is brought to you by Garage Build. Submit your build, share your passion. Powered by Dennis Kirk.
My name is Justin Umbs. I'm from Chandler, Arizona. My shop is Stellar Cycles. So this bike here is something I've had for a while. I've had a rolling chassis ready to build, and I haven't been able to get back to it. And I had the opportunity last year to go in front of the board for the hamsters. Paul Yaffe is sponsoring me to become a hamster, so that was a pretty big honor. I've been doing this for a long time and been doing motorcycles for a long time, and this one's kind of got a special place in my heart because we went on the High Seas Rally cruise, and on that cruise the guys were talking about this throwdown, and they said, you know, you got something you can build. And I said, as a matter of fact, I've got a CFL chassis that I can do. So got home from the cruise, kind of got myself situated, and then I had 4 months to build this. So it's a CFL 4-up frame. It's a American suspension front end. The tins are a West Coast front fender, West Coast Villain tank, and a lead sled rear fender that's been modified. Motor's a 113 S&S and 6-speed tranny. The motor and tranny I had for this build were black, and I decided that I wanted to do something light colored frames, so I split the motor apart, fully polished it, reassembled, split the tranny, fully polished it. It was very interesting trying to build a chopper from 15 years ago because the parts were so readily available, and now they're not. So finding the parts, I put some calls into Wimmer to get the air cleaner, speed dealer grips, foot pegs, PM controls, PM brakes, big brakes on it. My motor mount came from all the way from Germany, from famous fabricator, called BDL for the 2-inch belt drive, and then the pipes and hard oil lines were all made in Chandler, Arizona. Some friends of mine have a shop called Arizona High Test, and they specialize in hot rods. And I contacted them and gave them my layouts and my thoughts, and they took about a week and a half to do all the hard lines. Fernando's Polishing did all the polish work on it. JC Mason did the paint job. He's local to Arizona, been friends with him for 20 years. He's been a longtime friend of mine. He paints for our Harley store as well. And, you know, this paint job was something I had in my head. I didn't want a really loud colors, loud anything. So laying this out with some panels and big flames in it, just thought that was the right way to go with it. So I think the guys there at Rolling Art nailed it. And, you know, this seat I had to find off of eBay because they're not in production anymore, so it's a real West Coast seat. And I think it cost me an arm and a leg to get it. But I couldn't build this bike without the right seat on it. So, but outside of that, you know, it's all done. We're here. We had our hurdles. We got through them, and we're just excited to be part of it. Friday night on the third heat cycle, it started making white smoke. And I had to get to my best friend's anniversary to deliver a special present for his fiance. And that was a 55 Chevy pickup truck. So I couldn't miss that. So I had to just put this back in the shop after seeing it smoking and go, I don't think I'm going to make it. So Saturday morning, I pulled it apart. The whole top end was covered in oil. Saturday morning, I ran into the shop and pulled the top end of the motor off, and what I found was a bad valve seat that was leaking straight down the valve and right into the intake. So we had a failed valve seat or failed seal, and just had to pull the motor down again and fix it all in one day and get it ready. And Sunday night it was back on its feet, and we were very happy about that. Got over to Paul's yesterday and then watched 4 or 5 other guys that we helped try to get their bikes together. And now we're up here and we're still watching guys trying to get their bikes together. So it's been a real passion project for all of us, and you know, personal projects for us normally don't get done. So this is very cool that we got to do this. Justin Umbs from Chandler, Arizona with Stellar Cycles, and you're watching Shop Talk.
The only thing standing between you and the open road is some garage time with the right parts and accessories to make your motorcycle roar. And that's why riders everywhere choose DennisKirk.com, the one stop you need to get your Harley back on the road. Our knowledgeable tech staff will help you navigate our more than 185,000 parts, apparel, and accessories that are ready to ship today, with free shipping on all orders over $89. So tune up your ride and get ready for the next adventure. Ride more, wait less. Dennis Kirk.
Hey, this is Reynold Knowles with Cycle Showcase STL, and you're watching Shop Talk.
Whether riding takes you from A to B or just lets you escape, there's a flow to the road you share. So go with it. Eyes open, and always have the Law Tigers by your side. If you've been injured in a motorcycle accident, visit us at lawtigers.com. Law Tigers, America's motorcycle lawyers.
Okay, welcome back to the Dennis Kirk Motorcycle Studio. You're watching Shop Talk, and we're rolling on with the show tonight. Man, Justin, huh?
He was great to interview. Like, you could tell how much being there meant to him. It did. You really could. And like, he was getting choked up, and he was so emotional about the whole process.
So for any of you guys that aren't aware of this, the thing that we did last year in Arizona, the FXR Friends Throwdown, turned into the Chopper Friends Throwdown this year. And Justin was one of the new guys in on the fold, and you know, there was real drama there, man. I mean, he didn't think he was going to make it, you know, and there was a few guys that really, they were counting on being there, and a couple of them talked big shit through the year. Oh yeah. And down near the end, they were like, "Well, I guess choppers were harder than I thought."
I love that. That was the greatest thing to hear people say.
Brandon Hoffman, no comment. Hey, you made it. I actually did a little product testing on the ride that I'm not sure you had to do.
Something's wrong for him not to say something. No comment.
Real quick, I don't know if you can hear it down there, but there's some thunder boomers going on outside, so just a warning.
Oh boy.
It's supposed to be heavy.
Yeah, so if we go dark, there's a storm brewing outside.
Let's move on with the show. Our guest tonight is one of my favorite people in the world. And we were talking in pre-show how her story in life was a lot like I'm assuming someday the stories that Heather's going to have to tell because of me. But everyone's talking about the auction coming up, the Mecum auction with Jill Parham's collection from the National Motorcycle Museum, and we're lucky enough to have Jill with us here tonight to talk about it. It's incredible. Like, I've been going back and forth through the Mecum information, looking at all the different bikes and everything, and thinking about, you know, the hardest thing that has to be involved with this are not the inanimate objects. You know, the inanimate objects and how much money versus time and everything else. But you have to imagine, just like every one of my bikes, every single motorcycle there has to come with a story.
Yeah.
Oh,
you know,
absolutely.
There were milestones, there were achievements, there were, you know, like every single one of them, and getting ready for something like this has to be heavy. So we have her on with us. Let's go to the lines and check out what Jill has to say about the auction coming up.
Just Hanging Out in the Shop is brought to you by Spectro Oils, made in the USA since 1966, the best oil on planet Earth.
Hey, thank you so much for being with us here tonight.
You're welcome. I'm happy to be here.
So, like I was just saying before we brought you on, I imagine that every single thing that you're going through right now, there just has to be like a wave after wave of memory and stories that come with it.
There is, and every time I turn around, there's somebody in the museum that I hadn't seen for a long time coming to check things out, and that's fun. And especially when customers come in that tell stories about John in the old days, and so that's been fun. It's been fun getting ready for it, even though it's been hectic.
Now, I have to tell you, one of the biggest reasons, Heather and I sat down and talked about this, and one of the biggest reasons why I wanted to reach out to you, and thank you to Marilyn Stemp for putting us together, but one of the biggest reasons is it was like everyone's talking about the auction coming up, and everyone seems to have an opinion, and I wanted an opportunity to talk to you about the life that you had up to this point with all of this stuff, with the company, with everything, where you came from and what got you to the point of getting ready to have this auction, because I imagine this whole thing was a process. It wasn't easy for you.
No, it was not easy. It was not easy at all. I had a lot of sleepless nights, and I actually have a board of directors that I report to with the museum, and so it had to be a vote, to do what we were going to do, and we talked about it probably a year ago, and then last August when we had our last meeting, we came to a decision that it would happen in 2023. And it's emotional for me because my husband loved all these motorcycles. He was I call him obsessed, maybe, or possessed. I don't know what you want to call it. Because he wanted a motorcycle for everybody in the museum. He wanted something from every aspect of life, and he wanted people to come into the museum and say, that was my first bike. I remember my first bike I ever had, and he wanted to have all of it. And so he went from Hondas to old Harleys, to Thors, to rough Superiors. I mean, he went all over with everything, and so he had one of everything in there, and he loved the memorabilia that went with it, and he just loved to collect. I can't say anything any different.
It's funny. You can see that because as you're flipping through the listings on the Mecum site, you'll come by the $150,000 expected price bikes,
Mm-hmm.
and then you come across, like, I saw one that was a little cage rear wheel scooter,
Yep.
and it's listed for a couple $1,000 or something,
Yeah.
and it's like when you see an auction listing come up like this, like the collection of, and this is a serious collection. You don't normally see that kind of motorcycle in it. They put all of that best stuff out there, and they're trying to lure people in for the auction. But this is, so far as I can tell, an honest look at what this man collected.
He collected everything, and so some of the motorcycles that are in the auction are owned by the museum. So we had people over the years that donated bikes to the museum in order to use it for what we needed to. And so about 50 of the bikes are the museum's.
Oh.
The rest of it is the collection of Jill Parham. And I kept about 10 of those bikes, the best of the best, I call it, what I wanted to keep anyway. And so you might see some of the photos in there. One particular is his 55 Panhead, which is not going up on auction. I am waiting to take that out of there until probably August, because people like to come and look at that bike. And so that is one of the bikes that's still there that I haven't removed yet. But that was one of John's favorite bikes. We call it the JMP bike, actually, because there's so much history with it. We were very young, and it was one of John's first older bikes that he ever bought, and we actually couldn't even afford it. We got our income tax money back, and he's like, let's go look at this bike. And so we drove all the way to Indiana, and it was supposed to be $2,500 for the bike. And we didn't even have enough money to stay in a hotel. We slept in the van in a side street of the town. And the next day when we went to get it, the guy said, no, it's $3,000. And we only had $2,500. And he trusted us for that extra $500. And so we brought the bike home. And actually, unfortunately, it was in a fire in 1984 when our shop burned. And burned up, and we had to restore it again. And so John restored it. And we loved riding on it. It was a solo seat meant for one, but we rode on it together. Anyway, we rode all over on that bike. And then we, as life struggled through with JMP Cycles, we needed to come up with payroll money. And so we sold it to a friend for $10,000. And so we could make payroll. And he held it for 2 years for us and sold it back to us. So it's kind of been around the block, and so it's never going anywhere now. I will keep it forever and pass it on to my family. So my grandson, actually, I said, if you had to pick one of the bikes that your papa had, which would you take? And he goes, I want the 55. I said, well, that means you have to kick it. You can't be, you have to learn how to kick it over and ride it. And I'm not sure he's 14 years old. We'll see.
I love that. I love that story. Jill, now, when John started all of this back in the 70s, you were not a motorcycle person, correct? You were in IT, correct? Is that?
Yeah, I was an IT person, and somebody had to bring the money in for the family, because he wasn't making any. He was making it. And, and JMP wasn't making it, so he couldn't take the payroll out of there. And so I worked in IT for a lot of years, and then he convinced me in 91 to come and join him on a daily basis. So I quit my job, and we came together, and the company was growing then, and there was nothing in place. There was no procedures, and software wasn't there, and so I brought the structure to that. He brought the motorcycle knowledge, and I brought the structure.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
Somebody had to be that structure person.
You kind of had to. You balanced each other.
We balanced each other.
Excuse me.
Yeah. How's it feel now to look back from where you came to where you are now? I mean, think of how many people have walked through that museum and like,
I know.
Dude, we're amazed. I mean, you have to feel so proud to have been such a great part of so many people's lives and making, not only getting them JMP, getting them what they needed, but to give them that walk through, stuff they've never seen. God, you got to be so proud about that.
It's awesome to meet the people that come through the museum. And, when we first took over the museum, it was actually in Sturgis, and they were going to let it go. And John and I were on the board. And so we said, we'll take over the debt and we'll run it from Iowa. Well, that didn't work very well. So we brought it back to Iowa in 2001, and it only grew and grew and grew. And in 2010, we had to move to this new building that we're in right now because he wanted to expand and have more motorcycles. And so we expanded from 200 downtown to almost 500 out here at the museum. And right now there's not that many in there because the loan bikes have gone back, but it's still very, very, a lot of bikes are in there. There's 315, 320 bikes in there still. And so it's still really great to look at and go through and see it. So you don't actually notice that there's not that many bikes in there like there was, because it was way overcrowded when we started this. There was way too many bikes in there, and you couldn't really move around as good as you should be able to. So, yeah.
So in the early days, and I think I'm asking this more for myself than anything else, in the early days, did you ever have those moments with John where you were just like, what are you doing?
Enough is enough.
I have so much faith in you that I'm going to be your cheerleader and I'm going to help you figure this out. But What are you
Yeah,
doing?
because let's face it, he was an eclectic personality. I mean, the things that he was involved in, it seems like just one after another. Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah. We in the beginning, we did a lot with promotions, to gain the names and everything for the business of J&P Cycles. And that became so big that we had to quit promotions. And so, but there was so many times that I still worked another job in the beginning, and John did too in the very beginning, because we couldn't afford to, not do that. And so it was hard, but we put a lot of effort into it. And there were times I just wanted to, as I say it lovingly, I wanted to wring his neck, to be honest.
I completely understand that.
Otherwise, then the bikes, what's going to happen with the signs, the knickknacks? Like, what is all that going to go up for auction, or?
Everything that's in the museum now is going to go up for auction. Yeah. I pulled out 10 bikes, and I pulled out some great signs that he had. Yeah. And I kept those. He had just a fabulous 1930s Indian neon sign, and it's just beautiful. And so I brought those home, and I kind of got a little mini museum, I guess, where I live, with all the stuff, which was special to him. And so I wanted to keep that to pass on to my family. I only have one child. John and I only had one child, and we have 2 grandchildren, and so I want them to have things, that they remember their papa by, later in life. And so John was so obsessed with every aspect of the motorcycle. He had such a passion for the history, that the signage that's in the museum that's going to go up on auction is just fabulous, awesome.
Oh yeah.
That's one of the things that I wanted to ask you about was every time that I've been to the museum, it takes me back, like the scenes that were created, are some of my favorite parts of it. And you can tell that it had to be him or somebody that loved this stuff as much as him that put these things together, because it was this is how it feels.
Yeah, you felt
when you stand beside the board track display or the old gas station, like that's how those things feel.
Yeah.
And only somebody that has that perspective could get that.
So that the board track was actually built in the museum. It's up on the auction block. I don't know how somebody's going to get it out of there necessarily. It was made out of the true old same wood that the board tracks were made out of, and so to make it be authentic. And so it is up on the auction block. The gas station is up on the auction block, and that was an old gas station that John bought from Jeff Decker, actually.
No kidding.
Jeff Decker had it in his back parking lot, and it needed to be restored. And so John hauled it back to Iowa and did a GoFundMe to get it restored. And so there's some history that Jeff Decker can talk about with it. But it's a beautiful, beautiful gas station. It's I'm hoping that it goes to the right home. I'm hoping some museum, comes and wants to. Yeah, it's fairly easy to take it down.
Yeah, that thing's fabulous.
It's amazing.
And then all the stuff that's in there and around it that is, show related, will go separately. But so the auction will be the 6th and the 7th will be the memorabilia, and so the different signs, the oil cans, the toys that are left in there. All that stuff will go for 2 days, and then the bikes will go for the next 2 days. So,
man, would it be great to go to that?
Oh my God,
it would be fabulous.
Well, and that's the thing too. Like at first, I thought about this because there's so much going on, and it was almost like it was a shame. And then somebody brought to my attention that there's actually a thing through the Mecum site where you can actually register to bid and do everything right through their site.
Yeah.
So we're going to put those links up for everybody too.
And so they'll put a big tent out in my grass area right to the east of the building, and they'll leave all the bikes in place in the museum. So the September 5th is going to be open to people coming in and viewing all the stuff that's in there, which I'm having that happen right now. I mean, every day we usually wouldn't have near the people that we're getting in. Some weekends we're getting 300 and 400 people in the museum, which is great. We can't keep T-shirts in stock. They can't print them fast enough for us. I would have never thought that kind of thing would happen, but it is, and it's fabulous. And I'm sure that, the 4 days will be very emotional for me, when those bikes start going. But I know that I've kept some really great ones. And in fact, the best one that was probably in the whole museum that I'm sure people would have wished I would have auctioned is the 1911 Merkel Racer that John bought from E.J. Cole. And I'm keeping that. So.
Yeah, I was actually going to say earlier that, like, I give you all the credit in the world. This has to be so immensely difficult for you. You are awesome. You're to sit here in the life that you guys created, to watch it, hopefully, like you said, go to some of the greatest homes. My heart goes out to you. I think you're an amazing woman for doing what you're doing. You have some serious strength. I can tell you that right now.
Amen.
Yep.
Unfortunately, I haven't had the opportunity or been around here long enough to get to know you, Jill, but just in doing my little bit of homework, since you agreed to come on the show, I have to say I wish I had met you much earlier in my career with Chris, because there's so many parallels that in just what I gleaned off the internet, obviously, in the things that you did with John and the way you supported each other and how you worked as a team. I find it like so inspirational, and
it might actually keep me out of some hot water too, because when you tell the stories about going to get a bike and having to sleep in a van,
right? And all I could think is, wow, like we've done that. Like we've slept in the van, we've slept.
I know.
We're like, okay, what are we gonna do ramen this month or
steak?
Hey, at least you guys had a van. We used to sleep under the van. So.
Right. But I like, and it sounds very cliche, but it goes back to the old adage that behind every man is a good woman, and to see how you supported him and how the two of you built that legacy together, I find very extremely incredible and very inspiring. And it gives me a little bit of hope.
Thank you. When John first wanted to open a motorcycle shop, his mother called me up and she said, you need to do something with him. We were just first married, and I said, I am. I'm helping him. And she said, no, you're not supposed to do that.
Even that sounds familiar. I think I've had similar conversations with my mother. She's like, what? No, just say no. I'm like, I can't. It's his dream. Like, I have to help him realize these dreams and go after it.
And Heather has a very traditional Italian mother, New England and everything else. And I knew that she had a very solid family group behind her. And I was like, okay, I'm going to do the right thing. When we were getting together and I had asked Heather to marry me, I went to her mother's. I had lunch with the Annies and, sat down with her mother in a very proper conversation and asked for permission to marry her daughter. And she looked right at me. I'll never forget it still to this day.
And I didn't know this, just for the record.
Looked right at me and said, I don't think this is a good idea. But did it ever get to the point though that the frustration was, just like had you at your limit? Because I know how things get here, and it's easy for people like, Mark was so flattering in the things that he said about how much you've done and how much you've contributed to other people, but I imagine there was so much sacrifice in living that life.
There was, but I grew up way different than John. I grew up very poor, and he grew up in a fairly good middle class family, and so he didn't know struggles, I guess, but I did, and so I guess that part of it probably didn't bother me as much because of the way I grew up, and his mom and dad were probably the most supportive. They look back, like they're both passed now, but when they look back at at not being supportive of us. I think they really regretted that, because I think they didn't think we were going to go where we did. Yeah. And John John had big dreams when he was a little boy even. I mean, he went to college. This is a funny story. He went to college, and he wanted to do some stuff in retail marketing, and he quit because he thought he knew more than the teacher. He only went to college like 8 months, and then he was done. So then he went out to start this motorcycle shop, and to listen to the people in town, now they're disappointed that I'm doing this. I know they are, and but I just have to think of where I want to go in life, and so. Yeah. But they, when we first brought, this is a very small town where we live, and when we first brought, JMP Cycles up and started doing things, they were like, "Oh my God, you're bringing those bikers to town. We can't believe this is happening." And we were like, we couldn't believe they were this rude to everybody. We just couldn't believe it. And then we became somebody, and then they couldn't wait to have all those bikers in town. Of course, right. And, when John passed 7 years ago, I debated, for just a few minutes on whether I was going to continue this museum or not. And I said, I'll try it for 5 years. And, it's never financially ever been stable. And I don't know that any museum is. Everybody has to have a little gold digger, I call it, that supports it. And so I decided I'd do it for 5 years. And as I headed towards 70, I wanted to do something different. I don't want to work all my life, so that's where it's at.
Well, and that has to be one of the biggest things that anybody that would have an opinion about that for you. You've dedicated your entire life to this culture, the community around it. That company, that brand, everything that you and John did together. I mean, if anyone deserves to do whatever the hell they want, it's you. At this point, it's you. You've more than earned that. Yeah.
I've gotten some heat from people, and I've learned to put my head up high, and they're like, "You're taking the history of this whole place down, and your husband would be so disappointed in you." All
shame
that
on them.
Yeah, these are
it's terrible the stuff I've heard.
These are people that have probably never done anything in the industry.
No, shame on them. John would be.
Anyway, I say to them, well, I'm just spreading the love. John would like for his bikes to go to other people, and why hoard them all? And if somebody wanted to come in and start a collection, this would be the best auction in the world to do it with. Right, if you had the money, you could come in and you could start your own little mini collection. And I'm hoping some of the bikes go to some of the museums.
Well, you just angle some of those bad phone calls towards me. I'll take care of them for you.
And you never know. Somebody may start a museum or start a collection with us, and this will be their catalyst to carry on that history and that tradition. So absolutely. I think it's amazing that this opportunity is there for people. Like, I know Tom Banks, who has his own private collection. He's already said that he's very much looking forward to seeing what he can add, and and I know there's a bunch of people out there that will honor those traditions and hopefully not hide them away, but share them with the world.
Yeah.
Like you have, and you never know, but I have to believe that that's what's going to happen with
I think
a lot of it.
Part of the cool part about this is people are now going to buy that and say that they came from you guys. Yeah. That's and the next step. The story is, so not only did you provide a spot for people to come see history, through your perseverance and your adversity, all the trouble you went through, you are now a part of that history as much as anything else, which, not saying you deserve it, because you obviously do, but I'm sure that wasn't the intention from the gate. You know what I mean? But now you are a large part of that history, which, has to be awesome,
I'm not going to go anywhere. I'm still going to go to Sturgis and Daytona. I enjoy the motorcycle world. I enjoy the people. They're part of my family. And so I'll still do all that stuff. I just won't have the museum. I'll be free a little bit.
Yeah, well, you'll be free to, to actually enjoy your life now and take a little bit of time with, I'm sure, your family and do those things that you may not have been able to do because you were tied to the museum and to J&P Cycles, and you've absolutely earned it. I mean, I know I, for one, and Chris might shoot me when I say this, I want to register to bid just so I can, even if I get the smallest thing, to say I have something that was in the museum.
I totally agree.
Do you know what I mean? Even if it's whatever it is,
Absolutely.
just to say I have that piece of history, I would be so honored for that.
Yeah.
And I think you're going to find that through a lot of people.
Yep.
In which this will be a great place, because so much, filming in the shop and through Greasing Gears and, with Flat Broke and all the stuff that we do, to be able to have something from that shop where we work would be awesome. So.
Yep. But see, Heather, there's still a lot of years to go before we can get to the other side of this, so don't get any ideas. Don't do it.
Trust me. Hey, I'm in for the long haul. I'm one of your biggest cheerleaders,
I know
you know.
it. I know it.
But I think it's incredible, and I do hope at some point, and I'm so happy to hear it, that you say you're still going to go to Sturgis and to these events, because I'm still the new kid on the block. I just celebrated my 100th issue at the magazine, and I would love to be able to sit down and talk with you, and just like I said, not for any other reason than I find you an inspiration for everything you've gone through your life and in this industry, because it's not an easy industry especially for a woman, and I loved the statement that you said in your Buffalo Chip write-up, that eventually it became John and Jill.
Yeah.
And it was like you weren't separate. It was,
Yeah.
And I say that. Yeah, I say that because every now and then Chris is like, when did it become Chris and Heather or the Callens? It's no longer just Chris. You're a team.
And listen, I love you, and you work your ass off. So I'm not saying anything bad about that. I'm just trying to do the math here. That it was like 20 years before I could get Chris on the bill, and then it became Chris and Heather overnight.
All I'm saying is I'm glad my name's out of it. That's all I have to say.
Chris and Heather and Mark.
No.
Come on now.
Let's leave that one alone. I know that Heather did promise me that she upped the life insurance policy.
I did.
So we're good. We're good with that.
When he started racing, yes.
Yeah.
Oh man. Well, listen, it's been an absolute pleasure getting to talk to you for a little bit, and if there's anything that we can do to pass along from now until this goes down, if there's anything we can help with, please let us know, because we absolutely have your back on all this, and we want to see this go as well as it can for you.
And you're an inspiration, and send them haters to me if you have issues.
Okay.
I'll handle that.
I still have plans on going to Sturgis. So
good.
I'm going to try real hard to get to Sturgis. Not as long as I usually would be there, but I'll be there. So I couldn't miss it.
Oh.
Right on. Well, that's a date then. You and Heather have to cut apart.
Yeah, we'll have to match up. That'll be good.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Jill, thank you so much. And
No
I'm so
problem.
glad this gave me the opportunity to get to know you a little bit better, even if it's this way. Because, like I said, you give me a little bit of hope, and you're incredible. You really are.
Thank you.
All right. Well, we'll talk to you soon, and good luck with all of this.
All right. Thank you.
All right, guys. So you are watching Shop Talk. Thank you for tuning in tonight. Great show. We still got a lot of stuff to get through, but look it up. We're putting the links up now for the Mecum auction coming up for the stuff coming out of the National Motorcycle Museum. Incredible bikes, and I only have 4 or 5 of them picked out. So Heather, this is going to be one of the easiest shopping sprees you've ever seen me go on.
No.
All right, man. Hey, you're watching Shop Talk in the Dennis Kirk Motorcycle Studio. We're going to take a look at some new products. On the other side, Heather's going to do the events.
Wait a minute.
The product spotlight is brought to you by Drag Specialties, the world's largest distributor of aftermarket accessories.
Today's product spotlight is going to be on the V-Factor chrome handlebar control. Now this is a really interesting thing. Over the years, this was something that was available from almost every company that there was. Well, as the motorcycle thing goes through its ups and downs, products like this, which are, we used to call them the chrome swap parts. You took off your stock stuff and you swapped it out for chrome. these get a little more tricky to find. So luckily a company like V-Factor comes along, and they've taken what we considered the later Evo style controls, which, you know, you got the more of a square reservoir here on the master cylinder part. They've given you a nice solid option here for a handlebar control. It has the 11/16 bore, so you can use this with your dual disc master cylinder or dual disc calipers with no problem. And overall, you know, put a nice chrome piece to replace your stock stuff. Little things I might change to it, like the 2 screws up here, but overall for the price that you're paying for something like this nice solid product and a solid option when you're looking to do a custom bike. Check them out today at DennisKirk.com.
Everything we do at the track shapes what we build for the street and the dirt.
You can see how bad these guys want it. A race to the line.
For us, racing is not for the trophies or the glory. We compete because it makes everything we do faster, more durable, and tested to a higher standard. For S&S, racing is the ultimate in proven performance, and we've been proving it since 1958.
Hey, I'm Ron Fleener,
All right.
Knoxville, Tennessee.
Okay, we dropped his
Please Color Factory, you're watching Shop Talk.
Renamed him.
All right, welcome back to the Dennis Kirk Motorcycle Studio. I have news about the clock mount.
News?
I've been putting it through its paces.
News.
I do.
I love that thing.
I've been riding around with that thing on my motorcycle, and I can report to you. Everybody always says, "Hey, does it really hold your phone on your bike?" We used it all through Big Pines Run.
I'll tell you, and there were some rough roads
Yeah.
on Big Pines, and it did not budge. So I was very impressed because I almost came off the bike a couple times.
Yeah, I didn't realize. You know, when you
Dude.
have some friends coming into town and you're like, "Hey, we got to put a really nice ride together," and I want them to see, like, you know, the kind of stuff that we ride all the time, Mark, and like reflecting on that. Maybe I shouldn't have picked all of those roads. But
No, they all loved it, even despite the rain. We had a little bit of rain. It was still awesome.
To every life, a little
fun.
rain must fall.
It was good.
So, hey, I left a story out of the news. I have to talk about this. Comes in from Progressive AFT. Black Hills half mile to replace Buffalo Chip TT on Sunday, August 6th. No. So it's a drag to hear this. Producing a unique, purpose-built TT circuit plan for the Buffalo Chip campground requires a considerable amount of construction work to ensure that the racing circuit will provide a safe and entertaining experience for both the racers and fans. Unfortunately, inclement weather during key construction windows has prevented the initiation of the intensive construction schedule required to deliver a professional track suitable for hosting the AFT Nationals. So they're not doing that at the Buffalo Chip. That was one of the coolest things, man, when they finally got that track going inside of there.
They've had a rough spring. They've had a lot of rain, late winter. Yep. I know there were a couple other projects that were supposed to happen out in Sturgis that didn't this year because of the weather. But it'll save something good for next year.
Right on. So, speaking about Buffalo, Chip, I lost my button. I was looking for my button.
Can I get an amen?
The stunt show that's going on there is going to more than make up for anything else that might be missing. Because boy, everyone's talking about that.
Yeah, it's going to be big,
Jerry.
Real big.
It's going to be big. It's going to be big. If you don't know what we're talking about, you should go back and watch the episode when we had Rod Woodruff on here talking about the fact that one of the Walendas is going to be walking a tight wire
while an Ives brother jumps over him.
While an Ives brother jumps over him in front of God and everyone.
Right there's a twofer.
That's a twofer.
Twofer, Clark.
Sturgis is going to be awesome this year.
Yep, lots of stuff.
I'm looking forward to it. Can we take the week off?
No, but you know what we can do right now?
Oh, boy.
What?
Oh, geez.
We can do the events.
Stop already.
The Shop Talk events calendar is brought to you by the Bikers Info app, the Everything Bikers app. Everything you need, and it's free. Okay.
Ooh. Worcester Bike Week. Easy times. You guys are rad and everything, but a day is not a week. I'm just saying.
It's a thought that counts.
Really?
It is a thought that counts.
On air?
I'm just saying. But no. Easy times, they are super cool. Ralph's Diner, super cool place in Worcester. Worcester. July 8th, 11 to 6, $5 to get in, $100 for best chopper wheelie. Anybody who's going, I want pictures.
Well, I want video because that always goes bad.
Yeah, right.
There'll be one great chopper wheelie and a dozen fails.
Yeah, right.
Oh, yeah. Maybe I should go home for the weekend. Wasion, July 14th, 15th, and 16th. 40 years. 40 meets and still kicking.
That's incredible.
That's what it says. Harley Homecoming, July 13th through 16th.
We're going to be there.
We're going to be there. We are going to be there. Looking forward to it. I want to just know what Kenny Hoopla is.
Kenny Hoopla?
Kenny Hoopla.
That's the grandson of Matt the Hopel.
The Chopper Show, presented by Photocycle and Subalpine, July 15th, 2023 at 6 p.m.
Z&M, Scooterville. I know all those people.
In Turtle Creek, PA.
When's that? The 15th?
Yes, you could go.
Oh, my God.
I can't take the gunshot back, but I can put it back for you. There you go. July 15th.
Fuel Cleveland.
Buzz Canner is here. What's up, buddy?
Buzz.
Wow.
Fuel Cleveland. Mike.
Michael.
Mike.
Who invited that guy?
Michael, Matt, Mark, Michelle.
I'm so excited. We're invited builders for Fuel Cleveland.
You shut your mouth.
I'm telling you.
Fuel Cleveland at Haynes Farm, July 29th and 30th. 2 days. It's so good. It is 2 days this year.
Two.
Not one, but 2 days. You can get more information at fuelcleveland.com. Moving on to Sturgis events.
We go.
Again, we have a jam-packed week in Sturgis this year, kicking off Sunday, August 6th with our 17th Cycle Source Custom Bike Show. Over 30 classes.
What days I got to make sure I'm not there that day?
You are going to be there.
What day?
All the days.
I will not. I'll be
doing
there.
the days.
2 days only.
All the days doing all the stuff. Oh, you know what they call that, Mark? That is a limited engagement.
That's right.
Mark is in Sturgis this year for a limited engagement.
With a special guest.
Are we going to set up a meet and greet? People will be lined up for days.
My PR guy is going to be with me. Could you imagine Duke being my PR guy?
Oh.
Monday, August 7th, 11 to 4. I don't know how many times we've done this, but Vintage Motorcycle Day at the Iron Horse. Bring your AMCA card, get a free lunch, play some cool field games.
You having Duke be your PR guy is almost as bad as you volunteering to do customer service for Jill.
Right.
Yeah,
I'm going to do that. I'm there for Jill. I'm telling you.
Moving on. There we go. Also on Monday.
Poppy
Poppy's show, the old school Chopper show at Full Throttle Saloon. It's a great show. If you don't have, go to both.
You should.
I really want to
both.
try.
Bike, new bike.
I want to get there.
Chopper
on time
Stalker.
for that. I'm shooting to get there on time for that.
Yep.
You're going to make Poppy show, but not ours.
Really,
no,
dude?
I'm going to stay here. When's yours is Sunday.
Yeah.
Ours, not yours.
That's God's day.
But then you
Listen.
need to be there for Wednesday, so that's
I'll
more
be there
than
Wednesday.
3 days.
You have the tattoo.
I'm shooting for guaranteed Tuesday and Wednesday. I'd love to make Poppy show. I'm shooting.
That
for
would be
Poppy
Monday.
Show. Right.
Nice. Cyclesource Industry Part. Did I put that on there? That's the wrong one.
Yeah, that's the wrong ad.
Boy.
Wow,
It's
Heather.
real nice,
Baker
Heather.
Burnout Drag Sturgis, Tuesday, August 8th. Heads up bracket racing, cash prizes, all sorts of good stuff. Bert Effin Baker himself will be there.
Bert Effin
Bert
Baker.
the
Bert
man.
Effin Baker.
Bert,
That's
100 mile an hour.
That's
Bert
trademark
Baker.
now. Chris, we are having an industry party. That was just the wrong ad.
Yeah. Have you seen any of the Heman Fab bikes? Yes, Brandon. If you
yeah.
subscribe to CycleSource, you would see that we just featured one last issue.
Mm-hmm.
And there's another one coming up. I'm just saying, cyclesource.com to get the match.
Not
Just
hating.
saying.
Just saying.
17th annual Run to the Line. You can ride with us through Van Ocker Canyon.
can't
We have
believe-
ice cream at Nemo Guest Ranch, and there's
sack
going to be a
lunch.
lunch. We're doing the lunch before the ride this year.
I don't know if we're doing that.
No, you don't have a choice.
Yeah, I think I do.
No, you don't.
He knows a
No.
guy.
My name's still on the building.
You have a previous
Listen,
engagement that
I've been
morning.
watching this TV show called Suits. I'm a named partner. It turns out.
I know a guy.
Lit,
And that's Wednesday too, right?
Lit nothing and nobody.
lit nothing and nobody. Love that
Oh
show.
my god. That is Wednesday.
Yeah,
Mark.
that is
That is Wednesday.
So you get to go on the ride.
Well,
In other words,
well.
Thursday,
Black Hills
August 10th,
Boogie.
Black Hills Boogie Chopper Show. It's fun. Bring your old school chopper. We'll
And
have
your
a
disco
party.
costume.
Bring your disco costume. We'll give you prizes and money. Cool.
you're really selling it, Heather.
You'll get to see Chris dance, and he is a good dancer. Are you gonna wear your platform goldfish shoes?
Nope.
What?
But I will be at the Biker Olympics.
Friday, August 11th.
You guys are a complete shit show.
Oh,
You done with
my
that
God.
one? You done?
Yeah, just be there Friday, Iron Horse Saloon. Jeepers creepers. Wow, I suck.
Chop Machine Cycles, Good Times Motorcycle Show.
Griffin Hines Farm, August 24th through 26th.
I have faith in you, Heather. You can pull this one
You
out.
can
You're
get
3
more
events
information
away.
at goodtimesmotorcycleshow.com. I think we might be there for that one.
If nothing else, we can laugh at ourselves, for Christ's sake.
Or Heather.
August 25th through 26th, Realities Riding Rally in Fort Collins, Colorado. Go check this one out for sure, realitysride.com. They do
Very,
some
very good
amazing work
Yep.
for children in their community, and it's an incredible event, so please go support them. Labor Day weekend, August 31st through September 4th in Durango and Ignacio, Colorado. Four Corners Motorcycle Rally.com. Colonial Chapter National Swap Meet September 8th, 9th, and 10th, 2023 in Harmony, New Jersey. You can go check that out. That's courtesy of Rob Nussbaum.
Mr. Nussbaum, our associate producer.
Smokeout September 7th through 10th, 2023, Rowan County Fairgrounds. This is an event you do not.
I'm going to have to
want
miss that one this year.
Yeah.
No.
Let's talk about where we're gonna hide your body.
Right.
So Smokeout is coming off the chart right now.
Right.
Like I cannot even tell you, dude, the amount of people that are buying tickets and the stuff that's rolling in every day on that, it is gonna be legendary.
And I have to say, for that, to sit here the other night, I spent probably an hour, or maybe a little less than an hour talking to Edge.
Yeah.
Like, totally blows me away. Like, that dude is super cool. To move from, him running to now CycleSource taking it over. Just, it's so awesome to hear the stories and to see how excited he is to see what's happening next. And like
the greatest thing about that was him walking up last year, because last year was our first year.
Yeah.
Mark worked his ass off with me all week, all of us did. But we put at 0 hour, we got one thing done that I wanted to do, was to put the was to put
the plywood.
The plywood. We had a full sheet of plywood where we spray painted smoke out with an arrow, just like they did on the first one. And when he walked up and saw that thing, was incredible.
Yeah, it was cool.
It was incredible.
No, it was super. I actually liked it last weekend when Brandon was sitting there talking about the smoke out, and Ed was sitting right next to him.
Yeah, yeah.
Right
it
on.
was so good, but it's going to be awesome. Prices are going to go up July 4th. Get your tickets.
Get your
at
tickets
the early
now.
bird price.
Get on in.
We did extend the ticket sales for just a little bit for our friends that hacked the
You'll still
website.
be able to get tickets. They're just going to get prices going to creep up. You know, that whole supply and demand thing. I'm just saying.
We got some great stuff. Drag racing under the lights.
I know.
old
Mini
time.
bike races.
The mini bike races are stepping way up because we're actually have a proper track built for them down in the arena. So
Yep. Layout's a little bit different this year, but I think it's still going to be cool.
lots
Well, I
of
mean,
stuff.
not think. I know.
Lots of stuff.
And
but
we added a day.
We did. I want to take a minute real quick and thank our studio sponsor, Dennis Kirk, for letting the back door of the studio open again and letting us in. Thank you to Jill, everybody at the National Motorcycle Museum for taking some time with us tonight.
Hey, real quick, the museum is still open.
Yes, go there.
Please
get your T-shirts, get your
T-shirts,
memories.
support them while you can. It's sad, but at the same time, Jill absolutely deserves it. Yes, and when people go to Smoke Out, they can meet Miss Judy.
Plus, if you're in Sturgis, Mark's going to be there for a limited engagement, he said, so...
Get with my my guy. Get a hold of my people.
Miss Judy worked her butt off in the ticket booth for us.
And got to say, the past couple weekends between last week with the Pines Run, was super cool. The weekend before Lead Sled Open House.
Yeah.
What a blast. See everybody spending time with people that we haven't seen in 10 years. And
isn't it cool?
Duke coming up.
Does
and
that mean
Flip
you're going to start
showing up.
coming back out more?
No. Good possibility. No. It's a thought to kind of do.
Limited engagement.
No, but being here last weekend for sure with the Pines Run to Ed's birthday and to see everybody and the groups get together and stuff. We have come to a conclusion that you guys still cannot run me in my dolly, but that's besides the point. Doesn't have anything to do with this. But it was a lot of fun. So, I'm sad I get to miss a bunch of stuff, but hopefully that's going to change.
Real quick, Ashley Alexander is here. She is one of the Tankful artists at Smokeout. I have been asked to not share her tank because she'd like it to be a surprise. But I have seen her tank. I'm not sure if you're supposed to know that, Ashley. But, dude, it is flipping incredible. When I say
seeing her tank,
shiny
is that
side
code
paint,
for something?
Right, I'm sitting here
this
wondering.
tank
I'm
out
like,
of the park.
Yes.
Check her out. Shiny side paint. She absolutely killed her Tankful tank, and I'm so sad that I can't share it.
I saw a preview of that
you
too.
You did.
My question is, what's in it for me not to show everybody else?
Well, you haven't seen it.
Solidarity, Mark. Solidarity.
So
it's us against the man.
It's another way for the man to hold us down.
Or the woman.
She should be so proud of it. I can't wait to show it off when she gives me the get-go, but it's incredible.
And then you'll also have Bedazzle.
Yes.
Right?
Yep. That one, I think that's up
so
to
cool.
50,000 crystals on that
So
tank.
if you guys are wondering about that, the Tankful project that Heather embarked on last year with Ed Kerr in combination of Ed and the Hamsters charity for the Meals on Wheel program went off so good, managed to donate $15,000 to Meals on Wheels last year through the Tankful program. Some 20 artists are lined up this year doing incredible one-off custom tanks provided by Paco. They're going to put these incredible paint jobs on. We're going to do an auction through the Smokeout Rally and raise money for Meals on Wheels again.
I'm so excited.
Yeah, big shoes to fill because last year there was some killer tanks there.
Yep.
Everybody really brought it.
It's hard. I've seen three tanks so far, and they're all incredible.
I'm just going to spray paint one black with a rattle can and put it in our money.
Watch him get the most amount of money. All right, that's it. Listen, man, thank you to everybody tuning in. Thanks for sharing our headspace or your headspace with us and letting us put all this bullshit in it for a minute. Be nice to each other. Go out and do something with your motorcycle. Until next week, we will see you back here. Same chopper time.
Same chopper channel.
Stay dry, Felicia.
Good luck.
We'd like to thank our sponsors for their continued support, and we hope you pay them a visit when you're in the market for great motorcycle parts, products, and events. S&S Cycle, Makuni American, Baco Parts, The Broken Spoke Saloon, Twisted Tea, The Iron Horse Saloon, High Seas Rally, Twisted Choppers, Twin Power, Drag Specialties, Geico, Law Tigers, Tech Cycle, Fueling Parts, Lone Star Rally, Hijinks Apparel, Progressive Insurance, Spectra Oil, No School Choppers, Motion Pro Tools.